The Long Turkish War or 13 Years' War was an indecisive land war between the Habsburg monarchy and the Ottoman Empire and the client states of Wallachia, Transylvania and Moldavia. It was waged from 1593 to 1606, but in Europe is sometimes called the 15 Years' War, reckoning from the 1591 to 92 Turkish campaign that captured Bifak. In the series of Ottoman wars in Europe, it was the major test of force between the Ottoman-Venetian War and the Cretan War. The next of the major Ottoman-Habsburg wars was the Great Turkish War of 1683–99. Overall, the conflict consisted in a great number of costly battles and sieges, but with very little result for either side. Overview. The major participants of this war were the Habsburg monarchy, the Principality of Transylvania, Wallachia and Moldavia opposing the Ottoman Empire. Ferrara, Tuscany, Mantua and the Papal State were also involved to a lesser extent. History. 1591–92 skirmishes along the border intensified from 1591. In 1592, the fort of Bifak in what was central Croatia at the time fell to the Ottomans. 1593. In the spring of 1593, Ottoman forces from the Eyalet of Bosnia laid siege to the city of Sisak in Croatia, starting the Battle of Sisak, which eventually ended in a victory for the Christian forces on June 22, 1593. That victory marked the end of the 100 Years Croatian-Ottoman War. The war started on July 29, 1593, when the Ottoman army under Sanar Pasha launched a campaign against the Habsburg monarchy and captured Győr and Komárom. 1594. In early 1594, the Serbs in Banat rose up against the Ottomans. The rebels had, in the character of a holy war, carried war flags with the icon of Saint Sava. The war banners were consecrated by Patriarch Jovan Kančul, and the uprising was aided by Serbian Orthodox metropolitans Rufim Yegus of Cetinje and Vissarion of Trebinje. In response, Ottoman Grand Vizier Sanar Pasha demanded that the green flag of the Prophet Muhammad be brought from Damascus to counter the Serb flag and ordered that the sarcophagus containing the relics of Saint Sava be removed from the Mileseva monastery and transferred to Belgrade via military convoy. Along the way, the Ottoman convoy killed all the people in its path as a warning to the rebels. The Ottomans publicly incinerated the relics of Saint Sava on a pyre atop the Vračar plateau on April 27 and had the ashes scattered. 1595–96. In 1595, an alliance of Christian European powers was organized by Pope Clement VIII to oppose the Ottoman Empire. A treaty of alliance was signed in Prague by the Holy Roman Emperor Rudolf II and Sigismund Bathory of Transylvania. Aaron Voda of Moldavia and Michael the Brave of Wallachia joined the alliance later that year. The Spanish Habsburgs sent an army of 6,000 experienced infantry and 2,000 cavalry from the Netherlands under Karl von Mansfeld, commander-in-chief of the Spanish Army of Flanders, who took the command of the operations in Hungary. The Ottomans' objective of the war was to seize Vienna, while the Habsburg monarchy wanted to recapture the central territories of the Kingdom of Hungary controlled by the Ottoman Empire. Control over the Danube line and possession of the fortresses located there was crucial. The war was mainly fought in Royal Hungary, Transdanubia, Royal Croatia and Slavonia, the Ottoman Empire, and Wallachia. In 1595, the Christians, led by Mansfeld, captured Győr, Esztergom and Visegrad, strategic fortresses on the Danube, but they did not engage in the siege of the key fortress of Buda. The Ottomans launched a siege of Eger, conquering it in 1596. On the Balkans, in 1595 a Spanish fleet of galleys from Naples and Sicily under Pedro de Toledo, Marquis of Villafranca, sacked Patras, on the Rumelia Eyalet of the Ottoman Empire, in retaliation for Turkish raids against the Italian coasts. The raid was so spectacular that Sultan Murad III discussed the extermination of the Christians of Constantinople in revenge. but he finally consented to order the expulsion of all the unmarried Greeks from the city. In the following years, Spanish fleets continued to raid the Levant waters, but there was not a reprisal of the large-scale naval warfare between Christians and Ottomans. Instead, they were privateers such as Alonso de Contreras who took the role of harassing the Ottoman sailing. On the eastern front of the war, Michael the Brave, Prince of Wallachia, started a campaign against the Ottomans in the autumn of 1594. Conquering several castles near the lower Danube, including Georgia, Braila, Harsova, and Silistra, while his Moldavian allies defeated the Ottoman armies in Iasi and other parts of Moldova. Michael continued his attacks deep within the Ottoman Empire, taking the forts of Nicopolis, Ribnik, and Chilia and even reaching as far as Adrianople. At one point his forces were only 24 kilometers from the Ottoman capital, Constantinople. The conflict continued with the Battle of Calogera, considered one of the most important battles between the Ottomans and Wallachians. Although the Wallachians emerged victorious from the battle, Michael was forced to retreat with his troops and wait for aid from his allies, Prince Sigismund Bathory of Transylvania and Emperor Rudolf of Austria. The war between Wallachia and the Ottomans continued until late 1599, when Michael was unable to continue the war due to poor support from his allies. The turning point of the war was the Battle of Mezack or Erastus, which took place in the territory of Hungary on October 24–26, 1596. The combined Habsburg-Transylvanian force of 45–50,000 troops was defeated by the Ottoman army. The battle turned when Christian soldiers, thinking they had won the battle, stopped fighting in order to plunder the Ottoman camp. Despite this victory, the Ottomans realized for the first time the superiority of Western military equipment over Ottoman weapons. This battle was the first significant military encounter in Central Europe between a large Christian army and the Ottoman Turkish army after the Battle of Mohacs, 1601–06. In August 1601, at the Battle of Guruslaw, Giorgio Bastar and Michael the Brave defeated the Hungarian nobility led by Sigismund Bathory, who accepted Ottoman protection. After the assassination of Michael the Brave by mercenary soldiers under Bastar's orders, the Transylvanian nobility, led by Moses Sekli, was again defeated in 1603 at the Battle of Brasov by the Habsburg Empire, and Wallachian troops led by Radus Urban. Hence, the Austrians seemed to be able to win a decisive victory. The last phase of the war corresponds to the uprising of the Prince of Transylvania Stephen Bocsket, when Rudolf, mostly based on false charges, started prosecutions against a number of noblemen in order to fill up the court's exhausted treasury. Bocsket, an educated strategist, resisted. He collected desperate Hungarians together with disappointed members of the nobility to start an uprising against the Habsburgs' ruler. The troops marched westwards, supported by the Hajduk of Hungary, won some victories and regained the territories that had been lost to the Habsburg army until Bocsket was first declared the Prince of Transylvania, and later also to Hungary. The Ottoman Empire supported Bocsket with a crown that he refused. As Prince of Hungary he accepted negotiations with Rudolf II and concluded the Treaty of Vienna. Aftermath. The long war ended with the Peace of Székesfehérvár on November 11, 1606. With meager territorial gains for the two main empires, the Ottomans won the fortresses of Eger, Esztergom and Kanisa, but gave the region of Vac to Austria. The treaty confirmed the Ottomans' inability to penetrate further into Habsburg territories. It also demonstrated that Transylvania was beyond Habsburg power. Though Emperor Rudolf had failed in his war objectives, he nonetheless won some prestige thanks to this resistance to the Turks and by presenting the war as a victory. For the first time, he was also recognized as an emperor by the Ottomans. The treaty stabilized conditions on the Habsburg-Ottoman frontier. Also, while Boxay managed to retain his independence, he also agreed to give up the title of King of Hungary. Battles: Mezack vs Zpre Acute M. Tartar, Sexfer-Evar, Romani, Banat, Győr, Calogera, Georgia, Esztergom, Brest, Eger, Erastus, Herzegovina, Tartar, Győr, Buda, Selimbar, Kanyazar, Miroslav, Guruslav, Sexfer-Evar, Brasov, Buda,